All right, my friend Dale King, founder of Doc Spartan, recently announced affiliate representative of what states do you have underneath your cape? You're a superhero now, Dale. What states do you represent?
We have the glorious and wonderful states of Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, and you clear down to Tennessee.
And Tennessee. So you might have to call up Rich and Matt and Tia and be like, look, I understand what you guys are doing down there, but I'm in charge now.
I will. They will be the first ones I'm going to flex on.
So I wanted to talk to you because, believe it or not, at 42 years old, that's how old I am. You see it because it's on Instagram. People are asking me about my, what'd you call it? Like my beauty routine? I hate that. It sounds a little, it doesn't sound too masculine when you call it that.
Well, you know what? Sometimes the truth is the truth, Jason. If there's anyone that defines male beauty, I believe it's you.
I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but I appreciate that. And for the men listening, it's pretty much only attractive women that are asking me. You know what I'm saying? Like they're recognizing like beauty respects beauty, but they're also saying, tell me more about what you're doing. And I feel kind of silly. I'm like, look, it's this Doc Spartan stuff. I use it every single day. And you guys have a few products out there, a few new ones. I'm talking primarily, and maybe give me the names that it goes by. I'll just tell you what I use. I call it the scrub. I keep the scrub in the shower. I use it every time I shower, once or twice a day. It's like I use it primarily on my face and neck, but it's full body. And I can tell you when you're done using it, your skin feels like it's been moisturized in the shower.
Yep, that's it.
What's the name of that? Is that just your Doc Spartan scrub?
Yeah, so we have tons of body scrub. The one we do a Thunderbro scrub for you guys, but our top seller for men in the scrub line is our coffee scrub. So yeah, all it is, we do everything. We make everything by hand here. It's actually made by CrossFitters. Everyone that works for us either goes to the gym or is a part of the local community here. And the scrub essentially is a sugar-based scrub that you rub on in the shower. It gets rid of the dead skin, and then it leaves your skin moisturized afterwards, so you don't have to use lotion when you get out of the shower.
Does the coffee one, which I'll definitely check out, does it have caffeine in it? Like, will I feel my face tingly?
I don't know what the legal answer is, but I'm going to go with yes.
Don't worry, no police officers or FDA listen to this show, so we're all good. So we got the scrub, which I love, and then the other thing I use is the moisturizer. I believe it's like hair, beard, and face, but it's my go-to moisturizer. I put it on every time, like I said, after I shower, rub it in, and I believe it's doing wonders. People are saying, hey, you don't look a day over 41, and I'm 42, so it's working 1 year at a time.
You're stopping the age clock as we speak.
Yeah, I just wish I found it years earlier. I'd still be 29. But we got the scrub, we got the moisturizer. What other cool products does Doc Spartan have that people can check out?
So you hit on the top two there, but we're probably most known for our combat ready ointment. It's an all natural multi-purpose first aid ointment. So if you ever rip your hands up from workout or bust your shins, healing tattoos, we used it on our twins as diaper rash. So it's a great multi-purpose first aid ointment to have in the house. And then we also have a charcoal activated all natural deodorant.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That is the other thing I'm using, the deodorant. And I remember, really important for me, going back to my teenage years, I developed an allergy to deodorant. And when I was first getting your deodorant, I like probably asked you 10 times, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Because I've only ever used the natural, like the Toms, the Jasons out there. And I was like, all right, I'm going to trust Dale. I'm going to slap this stuff in my armpits. And I've been fine. Now, in all fairness, I've not been wearing much deodorant during the quarantine. But when I do have to go out, or when my wife tells me I'm getting stinky, I do use your deodorant. It's good stuff too. You could tell it's natural just by the way it goes on.
Right. Yep. It's like I said, everything we do is made by hand, and we use quality all natural ingredients here. So it works, and we're not going to put anything out to the community that we haven't tested and vetted ourselves. So it holds up all day, multiple workouts, whether you're doing CrossFit, rolling on the mats, MMA, especially in the summer with all the nasty heat going on, it'll hold up for sure.
Well, I love the products. Listeners can check it out. No better person to support than an affiliate owner, a veteran, the ambassador for those 4 states. You really, it's awesome to give back to someone that deserves it, but also someone that's just in the community. So definitely go support Dale and support Doc Spartan. You can use the code BESTHOUR for 15% off of your order. So that's best hour for 15% off. Anything else you want to tell the listeners before we sign off, Dale?
No, we just, every order we truly appreciate. We're a small team in a small town, and we appreciate everyone's business. So thank you.
Well, thank you for keeping my face beautiful, reversing the aging process, and like I said, you just make it super simple especially for men. We grow up not learning about this stuff. Luckily, my mom was always pushing me to put moisturizer on, even as a teen. I mean, she didn't have a daughter, so she took care of me. But for men, it's like, hey, you need to take care of your skin too. Might as well buy something that looks a little more masculine. You got soap in the shape of a grenade. It doesn't get any more masculine than that. And like I was telling you beforehand, the stuff lasts forever. You don't need to use a ton of either the moisturizer and the scrub. I've had my same tin of scrub that I literally use every single shower. I've got to say it's been at least 6 or 7 months that I've had it. So stuff lasts forever. It's good quality, and you're supporting a good cause. So go check out Doc Spartan and use the code BESTHOUR for 15% off.
Oh, I thought we were already going, so you're good, man.
Oh, no. Here we go. We are officially live with Chuck B. I'm surprised you don't get that more often, Chuck B. Or do you?
Hit or miss, intermittent. It's like the whole Chuck, Charlie, Charles thing is like an odd fucking conundrum of adulting, because there's not a lot of good names associated with any of those.
Charlie Brown,
Charles Manson,
Chuck
Chucky,
D.
the little serial killer doll.
No, we got some.
Factory.
Wait, that's a good Charlie. That's a good one.
I mean, except they were super poor, and his parents and grandparents all kicked it in the same bed and they ate cabbage soup.
Hey, yes, but then eventually he got the golden ticket.
Eventually got the golden ticket, right? I guess that's the truest of stories.
You are, well, let's say this. Maybe you are the one that's going to change buck the system, change the trend. But you are, I would put you up there as our top 3 to 5 most appreciated and also most wanted guests for a return. People really like you, Chuck.
That hits me in the feels. And I guess relative to the name, at least in CrossFit, man, we got Carswell.
Yeah, I mean,
that helps me hold it down.
Chuck is probably the best name in cross. I mean, you got your, Rich, one person, Matt, one person, Tia, one person, Chuck, who, Bennington, who, Carswell?
Deuces.
Yeah, I'm gonna name my kid, Chuck. And you really can't get a better Chuck than Chuck Carswell.
No, it's been very cool to have him in the community, man. He is such a big asset. I love that dude.
When do you decide to go by Chuck or Charles? Is that just
yeah, we can get into some backstory stuff this time. This would be good, stories.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I just came off the Marvel series.
Came off your Marvel streak, so you're wait a second, we've got to dig into everybody we interview now.
Tell me about the gamma rays. Tell me about the 40s.
So my biological father went by Chuck, and him and my mom had a super shit show divorce, and that was all when I was young. We were totally separate and independent of him by the time I was 4, and we relocated from Colorado. Don't know if we ever got into that. I was born in Colorado in Wheat Ridge.
That's the next town over. I'm in Arvada.
Yeah, everything goes full circle. It's crazy. So he went by Chuck. So my mom was super sensitive and touchy about that. So through my childhood, it was aggressively corrected to Charles anytime anybody called me Chuck, and that for sure did not make the name any easier growing up, because aside from the ones we've already referenced, was Charles in charge. Most certainly was not in charge of anything early on in my life.
But Charles and Charles, that's another good one, Yeah.
Got to high school and all my friends are we're just gonna call you Chuck. I was cool. I'm good with that because I was never like, leading the charge to be like, Prince Charles, another one.
So how'd your mom? Well, you
no,
got
my
an
mom
echo.
is still very much so like I am Charles and will always be Charles to her.
I don't know what you did there, but I'm coming through twice. There we go. It's fixed.
Yeah,
What'd
I
you
should
do?
have their audio.
You fixed it anyway. So was there a big upheaval between you and your mom when you were like, "Hey, mom, call me Chuck," or had enough years passed?
Yeah, she calls me Charles and it's fine. I'm not that bothered by what everybody calls me or anybody calls me. I mean, been called a lot of names through the years. So if we get something that's like based around my actual name, like we're doing pretty decent.
Well, so talk to me about what's been going on in your life during this quarantine. Right when I picked up, like you said, what's going on? I said the quarantine could be worse, could be better, of course. What's been going on for you, for Vanessa, for just everything in your life and your tiny dog?
So I'm trying to like think timeline. So she was fairly early in going back to work. I mean, everybody's life was pretty similar, like initial quarantine. Like everybody was like, I don't really know what's going on. I guess we're just gonna kind of like sit here and figure some stuff out. Well, I take that back. It's been a while since we've connected. So
Last time I remember, you were on the show, but I think I remember having a chat with you in Florida. I was just out walking and we were on a long call talking about stuff.
yeah, I'm trying to remember what the timeline for that was. So
Everything's either pre-quarantine or during quarantine.
right, dude. And like, can you believe in a couple days it's August? That's wild. So
that is insane. Look at this.
So
I made a coffee and I forgot to take my tea bag out of the coffee
nice.
from my previous green tea.
Nice. Been trying to get back into the green tea game, some matcha.
Yeah. So
But,
what is going on?
Haven't been traveling that much. Got back into that recently. So I guess kind of like chronologically, everything shut down. We'd already sold our gym, so we didn't have anything to like really pivot with any of that. But me and Tony Ranchi, he might be a good dude for you to have on to talk. He's got some insights into like a long time in the game, like a long time in the affiliate owner and coaching side of things.
I love Tony, and if he's listening, he's a welcome guest, but he also will know he and I have just struggled to coordinate a time on both ends. It would be like, oh, I had the wrong time zone. Oh, I had this. I'll reach out to Tony after this, though. I'll get him on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think like right now, like, well, everything's shut down. It might be a good time to intersect with him. So he and I have started a business together.
Okay. I didn't know about this.
Yeah. So Fit Affiliate. So like gym owner coaching specifically and only for CrossFit affiliates actively using the CrossFit methodology, both in their programming, but also like in their personal lives. So like, dude, you've got to be all in. Like you have to still actually do CrossFit as a CrossFitter. And that has to be like the core offering for your business. And you need to be like an actual affiliate.
Hold on, Chuck. There we go. You're bouncing around again.
It's weird.
Now you're good again.
Any idea what that might be from? Just to make sure it's nothing on my end.
You right now look like a cross between Dan Bailey and Rich Froning. Have you ever
I
told
know,
that?
isn't that incredible? But like if somebody saw me work out, they'd be like, oh, that's for sure not fucking either of them.
I didn't know Rich had a less fit twin.
Right. And Dan had a taller brother who's way less muscular.
Wait, so tell me more. What?
I've actually got like a good picture of the three of us together from like way back in the heyday when they were doing the CrossFit tour. Remember that? Like going all the major cities. There's like a picture of like me and Rich and Dan. Anyway, so yeah, Tony and I had gotten into like coaching affiliate owners and kind of like a really more individualized solution to we don't really identify in like the guru space, but for sure just like more perspectives and thoughts and kind of like fielding 2 points of view and not really giving anybody answers and not giving anybody a template, but just like exploring like what are the root causes of your problems rather than tell you what to do. Let's figure out why these problems exist. And then just like coaching, like we'll hold you accountable to fixing them.
Sounds like therapy.
I mean, isn't that what coaching is?
Yes. We were joking earlier about rescuing dogs, and you were saying how we basically rescue humans. I guess we are like, what do you think is more important when it comes to being a good coach? Connection with people or understanding and correcting movement?
I would say that like that depends on the athlete and the coach. Like I don't think that there is necessarily like a right or wrong answer for that, depending on like individual goals for the client, but then aligning with like the coach's own personal philosophy of coaching. I think that you can't effectively do one without the other in either direction. I mean, you've got to be able to fix movement, and I think like that's kind of like you and Dr. Sean and I, and talking about like a lot of it, like you know, the whole coach like you mean it is the floor. Like you have to actually be good at your job before we worry about layering any of like the higher level, like more meta thinking shit into it. So I feel like coaching, correcting on purely a technical level, that is like a base level requirement. Like if you can't do that, you don't get to like pass go and collect $200, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with people's time and energy and money. And time and energy are fairly priceless, and money sure as shit is valuable. So like you have to actually be good at the job. And then like self-administration, too far down like the rabbit hole of like human connection, and generally we'll seek to like over deliver on the service, probably willingly run into boundary issues with clients on occasion. But you know, I know how much fitness has like profoundly impacted my life and all of the people that I've met and everything that I've done in the last, you know, 13 years in this, you know, space. And so I can't help it. Maybe I need somebody to fucking give me some therapy. I'm not trying to save everybody from themselves.
Can you be a good coach without having that deep rooted issue? Because I'm the same, and I would assume like me and you and Tony, you know, are the same, where it's like sometimes you just want to fix people that A, aren't asking to be fixed, and B, you know, it might not even have to do with fitness or nutrition. It's just like, I just want to kind of fix your mindset right now because you're really dumb or you're being ignorant, you know, and it's, you know, and especially that you need to connect first.
Well, and I think like that comes more with like the nature of like the section of the, you know, the fitness industry that we coach in and the people that we coach with. Because it's not like a fucking high school football coach. Like it doesn't fucking matter if you connect with people. Like this is a very simple, like finite game. Like there's you guys, and fucking you win points and take points away from them. And like, here we go. I don't care if you like me. Like we've got a very basic job to do where we're like, hey, I'm going to try and like save and change your life. And I want to like hopefully have a relationship for the rest of your life. And when you start dealing with generally adult populations of general population, like recreational fitness enthusiasts, for like lack of whatever you want to like term them or identify them, people at this point especially aren't cruising into CrossFit boxes because they're like early adopters like all of us. Like they're not looking through the journal to figure out how to make some fucking rings out of PVC or how to like build a, you know, cement kettlebell. They're like, if I don't figure out fitness, I'm not going to get to meet my great grandkids. If I don't figure out fitness, I'm not going to get to watch my kids get married. And so like, I think for that group of humans that isn't like a high school or collegiate football player, like people that aren't just driven by like points and getting a scholarship or something, like, you know, you could probably get into like human motivation structures and like fucking status and all that. But like, it's a very different nature for the coaching role and for the client role. And so I feel like when you deal with like fitness, like really trying to deal with fitness and not a specific singular modality athletic focus, you have to have that like relationship connection side.
Do you think the quarantine is going to usher in a whole new group of people to do really any fitness, but primarily CrossFit, realizing, okay, this was a huge, you know, eye opener. Like I'm not healthy, and either I did or didn't get this COVID thing, but I was scared.
Dude, I am extremely, extremely bullish on like the future of our industry as a whole, but especially like our place in it. Couple of things, like, so you'd mentioned like people finally quantifying some amount of valuation on their health. It's really easy to like put off health and fitness and be like, yeah, I'll get to it. Yeah, I'll get to it. And then when you look at like, you know, mortality rates, and it's like, oh, you're super fun. And people are like, whoa, wait, you mean I could die from being unhealthy? And you're like, well, I mean, that's kind of always been the case. I don't know why we had to go down this road for you to like appreciate that. But yeah, being unhealthy is not fucking cool, and that check might get cashed sooner rather than later. So I think like very positive about the future of the fitness space, and then like relative to what we do, like actual functional, meaningful, real fitness plus the element of a human connection. There are a lot of lonely humans right now. Like you and I are well networked dudes, like, and we've got a lot of people that like we can reach out and connect with. And there's a lot of people that have been basically like living very, very shallow lives since March, especially with all of their potential like social outlets removed. You know, if they don't have close groups in like their work environments, even if they're remote, like just to have some people to reach out to. If they don't have like good supportive spouses or partners, like I don't know, man, it would be a really rough time to recognize that like, oh, without this silly bullshit that I kind of busy myself with, like I am not living the life that I want to live, regardless of my state of like health affairs. To recognize that, like you don't have a tribe. Humans want tribes, bro. When you come to the realization that you're like, oh fuck, I legit don't have a tribe. Like who are my people? Who's there to have my back? Who's gonna like help me survive, like literally and figuratively? I think that's where like CrossFit as a community ends up being the thing that gets a lot of people that build new habits with fitness and exercise to be like, this is the piece that I'm missing. And I mean, for all of the people that we've got in Fit Affiliate, like they have seen way above average growth since the reopenings of their gyms, like everybody across the board. A lot of people like just kind of like business centric PRs of ACV, LTV, total membership numbers, like lead flow. It's going to be a good time for fitness.
Yeah, I know for a while, and I still believe people will find fitness at home. I think the Pelotons, I think CrossFit's going to launch something for at home. I don't have any insight into that, but pretty sure that they're going to do something. And I think step one is people are realizing we need to exercise. This is actually important. It's not something like you said, I can start when I retire. Like turns out, you know, time under tension, the volume under the curve, like Coach Glassman talked about with health is important. But the idea of tribes is huge because people ask me, do you miss people? I'm like, I talk to people all day, and not only like that, like I'm talking to you now. I spoke to my buddy in New York earlier. I speak to Fern and Todd almost like I don't really feel like I'm missing human connection, but I do miss. I think there's a difference between I'm on these calls connecting. I love this, and then having your local tribe. Because I think, do you think the idea of tribe is by nature or default local? Can you be, there's small, and then I want to just say that, because I swung by the local box here for the first time. What's today? Wednesday. On Monday, just happened to drop by. The owner was there. This box, Ralston Creek CrossFit, it's about 10 minutes away, and I was saying like I miss this, like, and he invited me in, and I'm probably gonna do some coaching here and there with him. So I'm excited about that. Like, definitely, Roz and I miss that. But can you be part of a virtual tribe?
I think that, I mean, I know that you can, because like that was CrossFit, especially for like us dudes that have been around for a while. Like you didn't have the ability initially to have a localized CrossFit tribe. But I think it's a little bit different to look at like the literal belonging of a tribe as a piece of like localized human connection. And so much of like the nature of human relationships is like body language, facial expressions, like oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin, social bonding. But then you can still be a tribe in a non-local remote sense. And I think that ties into identity and belonging. And I think that like that's been a lot of this journey for me, probably for you, probably for, I mean, most of the people that we probably like know in our network. It's like initially you were a part of the tribe in a removed sense, non-locally, because you started to change your identity to like belong to this group of people. And you're like, fucking super hard workouts in the park. Yeah, people like me do things like that. Like, 100 pull-ups in a workout when most people can't do one. Like, yeah, people like me do things like this. And then eventually you're like, I need to connect with the tribe. And so what do? Like you go to a gym or you fucking start a gym. And I mean, like, like you're saying, the home gym stuff, I don't think that's ever going to go away. I think that ends up increasing exponentially. But at the same time, I think like face-to-face gym membership stuff does. And I think if you I don't know how you would like actually find a data point for it, but I would venture to guess that anybody that's been a consistent like fitness enthusiast in some kind of coached capacity in a gym for probably 3.5 or more years probably also has a home gym, because they recognize like, oh, it's not either or. Like these both fulfill different pieces of this overall fitness journey, which is overall part of like my human journey. Because I have recognized through the life lessons and the personal growth that like fitness has shown me, I cannot be a healthy, happy, productive, functioning human without exercise as a regular part of my life. I also need social connection, but sometimes I'm not going to be able to have my cake and eat it too. Sometimes I need to smash a 10-minute workout in the morning and like go about my day. And so I'm going to have some stuff at home. Maybe the whole world's going to shut down for 6 months and I need to have the ability to like get my fitness on with or without the tribe. And so I think like the long tail of this is that hopefully, I'm cautiously optimistic, but I feel like fitness becomes reevaluated as kind of a foundational piece of, I don't know, like the human condition. And I don't know where
Yeah.
we got away from it. And I think it's probably like, you could probably go back and look at transitioning from agricultural revolution to industrial revolution, like the nature of modern education and work and just being removed from like physical existence stuff. But damn, dude, there was no sedentary cavemans because that motherfucker was dead like early on. If he didn't get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger, like the tribe kind of ousted him because they're like, bro, you can't have any more fucking berries and deer, homie. You don't do shit. You're done here.
No, and I think you're right. And for me, it's funny. Like in my last 3 homes, this one included, I always have something in the garage. I've had the most, upscale garage gym in New York, and then I had a mediocre one in Florida, and then I got enough here to get shit done. But like you said, it's not either or. And I think you have that for when life throws, it's stressful days and weeks and months at you, whether it's, the quarantine, a new kid, whatever's going on, and then you still need your tribe. I think that's a great analogy. And I think, take me, for example, I pretty much can program for myself. I know what I'm doing. Of course, I can use a coach. Everyone can, but I don't need a gym. But I need a gym.
Bingo. Well, and like, it's lonely being like a high level coach. It's lonely being a gym owner, if for nothing else. There's a lot of social stuff we get into that. Like nobody coaches you. And like, dude, everybody needs coaching in some level, whether that's just like somebody motivating and encouraging you or somebody giving you like some of the actual like true technical fixes that you have lost sight of yourself because you get really good at doing the shit that you like, or like you're just removed from that feedback mechanism. And it's like, I know how to snatch, I know how to muscle up to the point that like I'm probably not going to shoot videos of myself to like really figure out where that other 5 pounds or 10 seconds of progress is hiding these days. So yeah, like you need coaches, you need social connection. It's been really, really good. So we as like the gymnastic course, like we're back to doing limited course offerings in select places with reduced cap sizes and a socially distanced course and blah blah blah. Like
how do you do that with the gymnastics course? Is probably one of the most hands-on when it comes to spotting. How have you guys navigated that?
Just we rewrote the entire curriculum as like a self-spotted and individual progression based curriculum, which initially none of us were super excited about, but I think a lot of that is like you get very comfortable and complacent with the thing that that you're very deeply experienced in. And I think that has been one of the limitations, like as a post-course feedback from so many people. They're like, dude, that course is incredible, that's one of the best pieces of education I've ever gotten, I understand so much more. I'm coaching a class and I can spot only one person at a time. And like, there's a million ways as a good coach you can problem solve that, like in a, very easy, safe, fun, healthy manner, but it requires like a fairly steep learning curve of experience and awareness. But for all of the people that have come through to just like immediately on day one, Monday morning, roll back into their gyms or their home gyms and be like, cool, like I have a clearly defined progressive path to reaching my gymnastic goals, and I can do it by myself if needed, or as a coach, I can run a class and not have to touch a single person and make like sound, effective, efficient march toward progress. So it's been very cool.
It's cool that it's like that adapt or die mentality. It's pretty cool that you guys did that. I'm sure you and Tony and maybe Tucker and a couple other people. I don't know who else got on a call, and I'm sure it was hours upon hours of thinking and rewriting. But you and now you guys are back in action where some other seminars aren't. So I think it's really for all of this, and for box owners that are listening, like those that put this marks on the floor to be 6 feet apart. Like we're living in a different world. Hopefully, at some point we overcome this, but you have to adapt, right?
Yeah, and I think it's been good. We haven't seen a pushback into a higher demand set from the coaching perspective, but we're so early on in this. But I think a lot of coaches are going to recognize, like, oh, if this or something like it happens again and I am relegated to doing like at-home programming for an entire gym population, I should probably have a broader, deeper skill set of helping people move their bodies, especially if that's potentially the only thing I can reasonably program for most of the people in the gym, because there's only so much gym equipment you can like lend out or rent out. And I would say the average gym member does not have a garage gym set up. And like, I think, at least from my experience, somewhere around 3 years or so is where people start to really accumulate like a couple extra pieces because they're going on vacation, or, they got a sick kid or whatever. And they're like, I should probably get a kettlebell. Maybe I should get some rings. Some parallettes might be nice. And before you know it, you're like, looks like we're parking in the street because gym number 2 is here. But anyway, yeah. So rewrote everything. It was definitely like a bit of a creative thinking exercise, not because we were missing any of the pieces, but just getting away from like biases and like, just what after coaching 200 face-to-face seminars that are all based in spotting. And you're like, okay, what would this look like if you couldn't touch anybody? And like, that's a very different like shift.
It was probably fun too.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, having worked 200 seminars myself, like still very much look forward to it, but it's cool when you have a new challenge, whether it's a new lecture, a new, something new to coach, or just completely rewrite it.
Yeah. And, it's like, I think similar to like an earlier touch point in the conversation is like getting back into on the athlete side as a coach, like being coached again by somebody, but like as a coach that's kind of like done your thing and in your role for a substantial amount of time, to like, cool, let's learn, let's grow, let's develop, like, let's have some new challenges. Like the first time I had like a truly adaptive seminar group, like that was a huge learning experience. And it's something that like you can manage on the fly fairly easily with like, a handful of people. You probably know like David Wallish and Virginia Rubicon CrossFit, like he's really deep into like the adaptive community there. And we went out to do a gymnastic course, like, it's probably 6 or 7 years ago now, but like his entire staff is adaptive. And so it was like, oh, you've managed it in 1s and 2s before. Figure it out with 12 people, no notice, Saturday morning, let's go. And like it ends up being one of my fondest memories of like coaching a seminar, but also one of my best growth opportunities. And so, yeah, rewrote the course. We've waited a long time to get back. I know that talking to Eric Preston a lot through the last couple of months, especially, they were pretty quick to be able to get back into doing some seminars. And a lot of that is because the staff is so broad and so like regionally dispersed, but we kind of let them figure out a little bit of like the new seminar world for a while, and then found like where we could make an entrance that felt like we were doing the right thing in all the ways, not necessarily from like a safety or COVID perspective, to make sure that like we could deliver the most value, and that like, any stumbling block that would take away from the participant experience, like we were aware of. So it's been really good, and definitely like, you figured out dropping into the box, like missed that human element of it. Like I'll really spend like 5 or 6 hours a day, like taking phone calls and Zoom calls. And there's no shortage of like humans that I love and interact with on a regular basis. But dude, there is just something about being in a room full of people doing fitness. And I think that ties back into like probably a lot of what the tribe was doing. Like the tribe was hunting, the tribe was building, the tribe was fighting. Like some piece of physicality in a group setting is very, very deeply hardwired into us. And I think anybody that's, experienced like a well-run culture and community in class they know that taps into something very, very deep seated into like what makes us human.
Well, and there's a reason every CrossFit affiliate out there has numerous couples, that have gotten together
Oh
because
yeah.
of, it's like that's where you connect. I think we'd all survive like this for some time, but eventually, I mean, Roz has seen me out. I got a new buddy that works at Home Depot just because I got talking to him, Jared, and he's helped me out. He's educated me, but he's also come over. And I think we both were like, hey, we get along well. We have this thing in common that we want to build. Come over, like, let's be friends. So I think there's something cool about that. Go back to your Fit affiliate with me for a second. So you and Tony started this during the quarantine.
I mean, we'd started, Tony had been doing it for a while, just in kind of like a business consulting role, not specific to like the fitness industry, but Tony's like started, sold, transitioned a handful of businesses. And so he was doing some consulting stuff, and he and I, since we'd both sold our gyms, we were just, dude, it gets inside you. I mean, you own 3 affiliates?
3, yep.
You'll probably end up with a 4th at some point.
I don't know. But, I get asked
you won't say it on camera, but like, it's just Roz that's like, no, Jason, don't be a fucking dummy. And you're like, I kind of feel like we should do it right now.
If I got became part of a community out here and the owner was like, hey, I want you to have a small piece of it to help me grow it, I don't think I'd say no if I felt like I was staying in one spot. I don't think I'll ever decide to start unless like everything I'm doing currently, to me, I told Roz, I was like, opening a new affiliate is like my, like you said, ground zero or kind of fallback plan. Like I know I can open an affiliate to make money, like as my job, as my income. Until I need that income, I'll continue to just chat with people on best hour of their day.
Yeah. So, just you end up missing it. And so it was
I do miss it.
And I think there's the intersection of missing it and wanting to be involved in it, but also probably a lot of like what moved you into seminar staff is like you start thinking about like impact and legacy, and you're like, dude, I could make the biggest gym in the fucking world, but it still doesn't magnify the impact of working with other coaches and other owners. And so like, for a lot of people that's moving into seminar staff, they're like, I got 150 people at my gym and I've seen how profoundly I've changed their lives. How do I do that at scale? And so, and looking at like, well, what's the next step from that? And some of it ties into the seminar stuff, because the gymnastic course, I think, is probably a very different experience than most seminars. And that's not just like my own bias in it. That's from a lot of the conversations and the feedback that we get, that it's like, people need to bridge the gap. And some of that is like in the pursuit of virtuosity, people realize that like they are not aligned in their coaching philosophy and what they want to do with like how their culture and community should kind of organize. And so, it was always the missing link. People were like, dude, I loved it. Like, what do I do with it? How do I make this work? How do I change a bunch of stuff in my gym? And, you hear that even after people go through like their L1 or their L2, like they're fucking fired up on Sunday night. They're like, that's it, Monday? The bullshit squats stop, man. Everybody's fucking wall balls are dialed in. No more shady thrusters. And like, by the time they get to like Monday afternoon, they're like, I don't know, guys, just stay safe, have fun. We'll get some high fives. Keep paying your bills, please don't get hurt.
That's something Chuck says at the end of most seminars. He's like, look, you just got a lot of information. Start slowly.
Yeah.
But yeah, you nailed it. But I've been asked numerous times my favorite seminar, specialty seminar. It's always the gymnastics course. I mean, if you're looking, aside from just the theoretical hierarchy of an athlete, right, where it's below weightlifting,
below all the cool kid stuff.
Yeah, it's just if you're going to teach your athlete something, why not how to control their own body?
Yeah, and I think we got into that a little bit on like our first podcast together. Is like, whether you're looking at the hierarchy of athletic development, or if you're looking at like the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum, if on a basic level gymnastics is defined as moving your body, then like, dude, if you can't move your body, like you're not fit. You're probably not even well. In fact, you're probably in assisted living. So like you lost out on that one. And then if you look at, we might be redundant in this, I don't know. Stop me if I am redundant, but you look at the 10 general physical skills. Everybody wants to do cardio, stamina, strength. Everybody measures like their self-worth with power and speed. but everybody straight up avoids flexibility, coordination, agility, balance, and accuracy. And you're like, wait a second, these 5 that you just hard dodge as hard as possible, isn't that pretty much all the gymnastics stuff? And you're like, yeah, but don't worry about it.
Well, and I agree with you. And I think most people have a really, well, with imbalance, I'd call it, for their weightlifting versus gymnastics. Especially just everyday life.
The open that is not you thinking that. Like, we get a very large data set all the time. Maybe, it's like, oh, you can snatch body weight in a half, but you can't do a set of 6 toes to bar. Like, bro, you are not fit.
Yeah, and not to mention, granted, you'll probably never need to do a 7th toe to bar to save your life, but you also are strong enough for anything that's going to come your way too. I mean, I think Pat Sherwood was like, if you can deadlift 300 pounds, like, you're plenty strong. You never need to be stronger. So go focus. I think the reason people shy away from gymnastics more so is just, how do I get better at gymnastics? Well, obviously technique and all that, but also, well, if I'm leaner and eat better, magically my gymnastics become easier. But that's a lot harder than just.
We talk about that in like the athletic hierarchy. Like, we're like, hey, nutrition gets glossed over with you and your clients all the damn time because it's touchy and emotional and weird. But like, spoiler alert, fat people know they're fat. You can be honest about it. They establish the relationship with you as a coach because like they want help. You got, Mary Sue Ellen, who spends 15, 20 minutes a day working on all this extra programming and skill work you're giving her for pull-ups and toes to bar, but like, straight up, she can't do it because she's in a 50-pound weight vest. The fastest progress for her to make in gymnastics is more fucking broccoli and water, not more drills, not more progressions.
Yeah, I mean, 9 out of 10 people that get their first muscle up will attribute it to, oh, that last cue is what did it. But typically it was the 3 months of, hey, remember all this talk about nutrition that you've been doing, and now you're 15 pounds, and that's all it takes. I mean, I've seen women at boxes where it's like they lost 6 pounds, and now all of a sudden they have pull-ups, handstand push-ups, they can do a muscle up.
Well, and like, I talk about that regularly. It's like, dude, go get a 5-pound dumbbell and tell me how terrible a set of ring dips feels. How many clients in your gym would just like love to only have 5 pounds to lose, 10 pounds to lose, 15 pounds to lose. And you start appreciating like the adipose tissue that a lot of like Gen Pop clients are carrying. Like, that is the biggest limitation to their gymnastic progress.
It's true, and then you see those people that bias themselves. I used to get so mad back in my box owner days. I loved the strongman community and it was huge, but it was typically the people, men and women, that were overweight. Yeah. Like, hey, it turns out I'm really good at lifting stuff. Yeah, because you're a little heavier. Weight moves weight. And, now that's all they do. And we all probably bias our lives, period. Oh, yeah, right?
For sure.
But, I'd rather do, if someone asks me to program a workout, there's going to be burpees, there's going to be handstand push-ups in it. There's not going to be running, and there's not going to be heavy snatching. But I'm not ignorant. Those people are just like, blinders on, weight moves weight. Let me work on what I'm good at.
But I think like you touched on like something interesting, and like, so a lot of people avoid gymnastics because they know that there's a sore spot relative to their nutrition. And if you look just strictly on the movement side, gymnastics forces you to really like humble yourself in a way that I think not a lot of other like pieces of modalities do. Like, you're never going to get just like this one magic cue that all of a sudden puts it all together for you. And like, dude, you've probably taken part in an unknown number of like coaching sessions where you've put 15, 20 pounds on somebody's snatch or clean and jerk in under an hour. Fucking nobody's going from 1 muscle up to 10 muscle ups in an hour. Nobody's going from like no muscle ups to 1 muscle up in an hour unless like the foundation's there. So like, gymnastics just like forces you to develop like perseverance and determination and patience. And like, I think there's a lot of really beautiful like human growth and development that comes out of like having to contend with trying to move your body better. And especially when you start looking at like not checking boxes of like good rep, no rep, and like the RX or scaled division, but like the pursuit of virtuosity. Like, how much better could that rep have been? Because it doesn't matter that you just got it. Like, how good is it? How could it be better? What's the next step? And like, I don't know, I think it's a really like beautiful, cool piece of the whole journey, but dude, it fucking scares people away. And I mean, you know, for sure, like there are people that would love to do their L1, but like they don't think they're fit enough. And they're like, dude, I got to train to go to my L1. And it's like, no, just come now so you don't fucking waste a bunch of time and energy. Like, you know, magnify that 100 times over with the gymnastics. Cause like on average, we are people's third or fourth seminar.
What do you usually see before that? Level 1?
1, 2 in weightlifting, or
Yeah.
1 in weightlifting.
So, but you guys are right behind. Hard to compete with Coach B with weightlifting, and it's great stuff. But again, and I've been to that numerous times, as I've been to gymnastics numerous times. But I think, hey, if you're going to follow the hierarchy, you know what to do.
Right. Well,
You
and I
know?
mean, I did it too. Like, you know, I was young and dumb, and I went from like my 1 to my weightlifting and like fell like deeply in love with moving a barbell with a bunch of kilos on it. But I think that as a tie into like the earlier pieces, like because progress is easily quantifiable. Like I went up 5 pounds, I'm better. Like I added 10 kilos, I'm better. Gymnastics is like, nope, 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 nope. And then you get it and you're like, I
Then
have
you're
no
like,
idea what the fuck was different about
right.
that muscle up attempt than the 10,000 I failed before it. And you're like, I don't know. So it's just, yeah, you have to really start being like very journey driven and not destination driven in it. And I think like that's a hard piece for a lot of people.
That's a hard piece in life.
For sure. Yeah,
I've
like,
really,
yeah, for anybody listening, like we're not talking just fitness, but like as two dudes that, you know, generally spend a little bit of time and energy trying to be better dudes, it's really, really fucking hard to just like focus on the process of continual improvement and just look for that like 1% per day across the board. And man, it's fucking way easier to coast.
it is way easier to coach.
Yeah.
So go. What has been the most common theme you've gotten from these affiliates that you're working with?
That they don't have businesses. They have hobbies. Or
Hobbies.
jobs.
What do you hear? You're talking to somebody new. What are some of the trigger words or sentences, or what are you listening for to understand I have a business versus a hobby? Maybe other than how much money they're making.
Well, so yeah, like I think that one of the earlier things that kind of like cues us into it is just talking about like goals. And I think that so many affiliate owners get like so overwhelmed in the day to day, and like it is so much of just like treading water, trying to breathe, trying to put out fires, that like they lose sight of everything they wanted to do when they opened an affiliate and like had these big, grand, incredible dreams of like really changing their communities with fitness. And they're like, I would just like to make like $500 a month and not have to be here 18 hours a day. And we're like, cool, shit's broken, yo. But I think that like there's, you know, a book that we often assign people as like a pretty early on thing to read or listen to on Audible is The Magic of Thinking Big. And
Who wrote
I think
that?
like
Definitely want to recommend that if you guys recommend it to your clients.
Dude, I love it. I'll usually listen to it, like it's really short. I'll listen to it kind of like probably quarterly. The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz.
Nice Jewish guy. I'll buy it. Actually, I just found it. Google The Magic of Thinking Big, and you can find it right on YouTube if you want to watch it there, or I'm sure you can go buy it.
Yeah, it's pretty short, but man, it like we could unpack an entire deep conversation on this. Like, dude, people just stop like dreaming and being like ambitious and thinking big. And I think one of the biggest like aha conversations that we have with people, and they've got like these little myopic viewpoints of like just trying to survive. It's like, hey, you know, absolutely everything that you know and love as CrossFit was all spawned from a single gym in Santa Cruz. And people are just like, oh shit, I've never thought about it like that. And it's like, dude, like the sky is literally the limit. Like what you start in your gym has the potential to change the entire planet if you so choose. I'm not saying everybody needs to go that route of trying to like, you know, fight big sugar and fight big pharma and create a health initiative and change medicine and like rewrite the entire like lexicon of strength and conditioning and change everything. But like dude, you don't have to play like super small and super safe. And if I opened an affiliate again, I mean, Vanessa would probably cut my dick off. But you kind of weigh it. Because prosthetic dicks are probably super cool these days.
Hey, I'd last longer with a prosthetic dick.
Right. It vibrates, it lights up. This thing's incredible. It's got a bottle opener on it.
You just be like, hey, Roz, how long you want to go tonight? I'll set it.
Right, yeah. But like, I would think so much bigger.
Yeah, we'll move to
Especially
Colorado.
when you look at, like, where COVID is like transition models and pivoted an industry, and you're like, like, we're pretty close to like, Miranda and Julian through street parking, because we do journals for them with Gym Gypsy. And it's like, to really try to wrap your head around like an online fitness community of 30,000 people.
That's incredible what they've created. But even take a step back and talk about Vanessa. I mean, Gym Gypsy's kind of become synonymous with journaling these days at the gym level. And I remember, I mean, maybe I'm biased. Maybe I see what you guys put out on social media. I'm sure that's a big part of it. But I remember the first one I got, I don't know if you guys sent it to me or whatnot. And then I was like, oh, that's cool. And then all of a sudden you see like people buying it, people sharing it. Like, but the point is, something like that spawned from your wife just being like, hey, there needs to be a better way. Let's think big.
Right. And I mean, like, that's, I think that's like been a reoccurring theme for her and I, like in our own lives. Like, this isn't it. There's got to be a better way. Like, let's do something about it. Like, her and I were both like previously married, and in our previous marriages, it was like, this isn't it. Like, there needs to be more.
You know what? There needs to be a better spatula.
I agree with you.
Like, I feel like the spatula has peaked and no one's willing to take it to the next level.
We've gone through like, I really like, I'll have to like text you a picture. It's like a silicone one. It's a pretty good spatula.
That might be the one we got. But even that, it's like $10. I'm like, someone needs to put out a $70 spatula that does better shit than this $10 silicone one. Yeah. And that lasts forever. And I'd buy it. Like, I'm at a point in life where it's like, I'll make one nice purchase that I'm going to keep forever.
Buy once.
But that's really, maybe somewhat of a joke, but it's also like, that's where a lot of people get to. Okay, this is it. This is where we're at. These are journals. This is what online training looks like, until a disruptor or someone that is willing to put in the work comes along and says, no, I can do it better. Yeah.
And I mean, fuck, if that's not like, kind of CrossFit's piece of fitness, just like totally distilled down to like, just, you look around, try to imagine a fitness world and industry like where CrossFit hadn't existed. And like, you have to reflect back to like, the early 2000s, and you're like, dude, there were no pull-up rigs. There were no rings. The only kettlebells you could get were through Dragon Door. Like, nobody could snatch, nobody could clean jerk. Fuck, there was two guys in the entire community that could, do an RX Isabel, and fucking one of them was split snatching the whole time. It was like Greg Amundsen and Josh Everett.
Josh Everett, yeah.
And just, you try to imagine like the world is profoundly and forever changed. And like, you see that in like all of these industries. Like, I was talking to a financial advisor and coach friend, and he coaches on the gymnastics staff. He might actually be a really fucking rad dude for you to have a chat with, just to talk about like finances in the coaching world, because like that's his market, just because he's passion driven. He like bunch of people just trying to like go paycheck to paycheck with like no benefits, retirement, anyway, whatever, different conversation. But he's like, do you know how fucking nuts you would have thought your financial advisor was if he told you to invest $10,000 in an online bookstore? And you look at Amazon and you're like, oh, 10 grand is the IPO. Like, it'd be a $12 million investment, but it just seems fucking ludicrous, because you're like a bookstore online. Like, nah, man, I'm just going to go to Barnes & Noble and grab my shit. And like, dude, every industry has like that innovator that steps in and just like at some point eventually just cock stomps everybody. Like, you look at Tesla, more valuable than like the next 3 automakers in the world combined.
While we're on the subject, let's talk about it for a moment before we wrap up. What was your thoughts, your emotions, and all that? Because we haven't spoken since the infamous tweet went out. We're talking about the guy that we're basically we're talking about Coach Glassman. He is the Elon Musk or the Jeff Bezos of the fitness world, right? Like, he came in, completely flipped it on its head, and now he's gone. I mean, officially, as of maybe a day or two ago, Eric Rosa and his company or whoever bought it, and he's taken over. By the way, like I was saying, move to Boulder. We'll put CrossFit Sanitas right out of business.
I almost took a job there like way back in the day when they first opened. I've still got like an email somewhere, but so like what part of it would you like my thoughts on or perspective?
Any of it. People, when we've had you on in the past, I think people just enjoy honesty. They enjoy transparency. You're not like super emotional about it. So I think people just be interested in what a level-headed person that's been around for a long time thinks about it.
So, you know, I mean, obviously if you've been around for a while, like there is no shortage of like criticism against Greg. And right or wrong, the dude for sure operates on a very different level than most people. And I think that anybody that's ever spent any amount of time with somebody that like really is a super high level intellectual, they know that like things don't always like come through conversationally in the best way. And like your smartest friend is also probably the one that you're like, wait, what the fuck did you say? And it's not necessarily because it is trying to contextualize what you think it might be. And I think that it was a very poorly timed tweet. And I think relative to all of the social issues going on, it was insensitive. But I don't think the tweet itself was racist. I think it was making a comparison of public health as a crisis and racism as a crisis. If you try to make these like analogs that are synonymous, you detriment the ability to tackle either one effectively. But that wasn't all said. So some of that's like my assumption of like something taken out of context. And by the time it happened, like, I don't know that he ever could have put the genie back in the bottle. All of the email stuff with Alyssa and Rocket, I feel like if you're going to take a communication public in the interest of honesty and transparency, the entire thread needs to be public. Because like me personally, like I've had interactions with coaches and clients and people that like if a singular communication was taken out of context with like my side of the story presented, like it could be very damning and very damaging. And that's not to say that the other side of the story is correct, because like as you and I know, like in two sides of two stories, the truth is for sure in the middle, and both people are for sure like wrong and subject to their own confirmation bias. So I didn't put a lot of weight in the email because I would have wanted to see the whole thing. And that's not to be on anybody's side or not. Just I don't want to take a limited piece of information and make like a judgment call about it without having everything. As a former affiliate owner, I feel like there are a lot of people in the community that are they're searching and asking for quite a bit for a basic licensing agreement for use of a name. And I think that the nature of giving and receiving is if you got all the things you wanted from CrossFit, they'd probably ask quite a bit more from you. And I don't know if you'd be as excited about the nature of that relationship when they're coming in to potentially audit classes or review your marketing or like look at coaching timelines and see how many people on your staff have their L3 or their L4. And so like, I was always happy to pay my affiliation fee because I thought that it conferred enough value. Because if I had, 1.5 humans that had gym memberships because specifically they wanted to do CrossFit, then like, cool, it paid for itself. I think a lot of people don't like amortize that cost across their entire year, but whatever, I guess that's different. I think a lot of people are probably not as educated as they should be in like the difference of an affiliation, a licensing agreement, a franchise. So I don't feel that the affiliates have been done a disservice by CrossFit at any point. I think they still put out more valuable truly free resources for the community at large, but also resources for the affiliate owner community that most people take advantage of. You've got a million shitheads spending $1 million shithead dollars on stupid fucking ebooks. And it's like, have you looked in the CrossFit Journal? Because all this stuff's been answered for 13 years. So anyway, I don't think the tweet was inherently racist, but I do think it was a bad idea, ill-timed and insensitive. I would be very interested to get like a deeper follow-up, like from Greg in the intellectual sense of comparing statistically, objectively, like his thoughts on racism and public health, because the dude he's smart, and whether you agree with him or disagree with him, if whoever you disagree with the most probably has the greatest opportunity to teach you something. And so I think like it could be a good perspective and framework shift for a lot of people. And that's not because there's right or wrong, but it's like, are you developing and growing and getting better, or are you like complacent? And that falls for everybody. And, you know, the email didn't carry a lot of weight to me because I hadn't seen the entire thread. So those are my quick and easy thoughts, and anybody's like free to reach out to me, and I'll talk to you in depth about any of it and all of it. So
No, and I think you're very much in line with exactly how I'm thinking. I think I couldn't have said it better, so you just nailed it. Do you think there's a point in time where he's welcome back?
professionally, no, but personally, I would like that. I mean, dude, I love him or hate him, the dude has done more for like the state of entrepreneurship, health and fitness and science than anybody else that I can think of, across all of those industries. And I think the community would be better with him involved than not involved. And I think that, you know, the other piece we didn't get into is like criticism of CrossFit as a racist organization. They have ended up in a difficult place as an organization, because if they highlighted some of the examples of where they haven't been racist as an organization, then it looks like pandering. And just like as Chuck Carswell and Eric Preston being like two of my favorite dudes in like the industry, not just the organization, but like two tremendous, incredible humans that are in two of the highest ranking positions within the organization, like that's hard for me. And there's a lot of other like minority inclusion, but like those are two easy examples that are based on my own personal relationships. I don't know that there's a single sport that has a more equitable qualifying process than CrossFit. I don't know that there's a single sport that has a more equitable like benefit and reward structure than CrossFit. So like I look at those things and like it's really hard for me to be like, you know, CrossFit I don't think is a racist organization. I think that the nature of economics has created some inclusion problems, and I'm very, very happy to see a lot of the scholarship stuff developing on both like a micro and macro level with that. But separating like any of the economics of like box membership or gym equipment outfitting, well, I guess even with that, dude, how many videos have you seen of like people putting together open workouts with fucking rocks in like Afghanistan? Dudes like weighing out sticks with like jugs of water attached to them. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna do my thrusters. I don't know, whatever. We'll have to do a follow-up on that. I got a 3:00, but I love you, man. I would talk about that all day, but
All right. Well, before you sign off, where can people find out more about Fitfiliate with you and Tony?
Just on Instagram, just at Fitfiliate. Just yeah, if anybody's like heart was broken through the series of all that and they really question where they sat, we'd love to just like chat with you for an hour about like what your core values are and what your mission is, and like, is this something that still aligns with that? Because if it's out of alignment, it's not the right answer for anybody. And that's both affiliation methodology or working with us.
Perfect. And I can't think of two better guys to work with other than Tony avoiding me and not coming on the show. But I'm going to reach out to him. And then please introduce me to whoever you were referring to earlier, financial and gymnastics.
Yes, dude. You'd have an awesome fucking conversation with him. I'll put you guys in touch. Thanks, dude.
All right, Chuck. Have a good rest of your day, and I'm sure we'll be in touch. And I'll shoot you over the information for the rescue.
Sweet, dude. Thanks.
You got it. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. How cool is that? There's a creation tool that allows you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, so it becomes super simple. Some of these episodes with Fern or Todd or myself chatting with one another, we've done right within the app itself. Anchor will make it easy to distribute your podcast to all platforms, Spotify, Apple, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make an awesome podcast in one place. All you have to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today.
Come on. Who doesn't have Spotify at this point? And if you were unaware, Spotify now is offering podcasts. That's right. On Spotify, you can listen to all your favorite artists, but also podcasts in one place for free. Spotify has a huge catalog of podcasts on every topic, including the one you're listening to right now, Best Hour of Their Day. On Spotify, you can follow your favorite podcasts so you never miss an episode. Premium users can even download episodes to listen to offline
wherever you are, something I always do before I hop on a plane. And you can even easily share what you're listening to with your friends on Instagram and other social media platforms. Here's the deal. If you haven't done so already, be sure to download the Spotify app, search for Best Hour of Their Day on Spotify, or browse some other podcasts if you want. You can find them in your library tab. And also make sure to follow me so you never miss an episode of Best Hour of Their Day. Thanks again for listening to Best Hour of Their Day. If you haven't already, do us a favor, head over to the Apple Podcast app and leave us a review. We'd love to hear from you. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback for either Fern or myself, hit us up, besthouroftheirday@gmail.com, or send us a DM over on Instagram at Best Hour of Their Day. Once again, we couldn't do this without the amazing community, and you are a part of it. Thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting Best Hour of Their Day.